Real history is in the making. This man claimed to have 8 celebrity sex tapes of Diddy and countless victims in Hollywood. I'm talking about top tier A-list celebrities on tape. This man just testified about having these tapes in court. Now there's only one thing left to do. And that one thing is show everybody the tapes. They're alleging that very, very soon they're about to be playing these tapes in the court of law while Diddy is present.
Because my next guest just testified before a federal grand jury. He says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties. His name is Courtney Burgess, and he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females. The drive also included a manuscript of an alleged Kim Porter memoir, a memoir that her 4 kids insist is fake. Courtney Burgess told his story on a podcast before he told the grand jury today, and after he told the grand jury, and I mean immediately after, he booked it over to my set, and he and his attorney talked to me. I should tell you that he was very limited in how much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of sex crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not. Here now is my conversation with Courtney Burgess and Ariel Mitchell, who's his attorney, beginning with the question of whether the participants in the video even knew they were being recorded.
If it's Rick Ross on the tape, they're going to have to show Rick Ross in the courtroom on the tape and put it in the newspaper and publicate it to the world so everybody can know what's going on. Because they don't already expose too many things to the public. We looking forward to seeing what's going on because we're invested, blood, sweat, and tears into what's going on in Diddy's bedroom. So if Justin Bieber, Usher, Morris Chestnut, and all these other people they claiming to be on them tapes, Ludacris, Lorenz Tate, all of those dudes that Diddy had at his parties, they have to be exposed in the courtroom. They talking about legal docs. It's not about he say, she say. They got bulletproof, hardcore evidence on flash drives provided by Kim Porter. It's no more AI blogs. It's no more live streams about the situation. It's getting real.
Were there any cameras in places where you'd assume privacy, like bathrooms?
Well, I've never been in this house, but the picture, yes. That's where it took place, yes.
You're aware of surreptitious cameras that were recording in private places like bathrooms?
I didn't see the cameras. You could tell how the person was angled. I knew that it was a camera there because I was there. You know, I wasn't there. I don't know if the person was too tall, he was holding it or whatever, but I wasn't there.
May I ask you this, Courtney? And Ariel, you can jump in on this as well, but I want to hear from Courtney first. Your home was raided by federal authorities, and I assume it is because of this material. Is that true?
I wouldn't say that. They just went to every one of them looking for me. They said, the paperwork said the 24th, that I had to be there the 28th, and then it was the 27th. I said, I can't make it there, that's tomorrow. So I don't know. From the look of it, it was 4 days.
And I want to be specific. When we talk about a raid, we're talking about when a subpoena is served for documents, a search warrant or an arrest warrant. In this situation, Mr. Burgess was not in any way, shape, or form had a search warrant or an arrest warrant issued for him. It was just them serving a subpoena. So when the federal government needs to serve a subpoena, they use the Marshal Service to come to all of your residences if you have more than one residence. So in this situation, they sent marshals to all of Mr. Burgess's residences, and that was somehow construed or understood or turned into a raid, but he did not face a raid. It was just to serve him the subpoena.
Ariel, do you believe that the subpoenas were issued and executed based on the federal authorities' knowledge that these flash drives existed and had this kind of compromising material?
I think it was based on statements that Mr. Burgess made in a prior interview.
She treating that man like that's her dog, y'all. Like he bark when she say bark. He sit when she say sit. She not playing with him neither. It sounds like he probably was moving some dope, and that's the reason why they ran over there. He old school with it. He been in the game for a long time. She got him pulling Diddy schemes. They looking like Angela Simmons' auntie and Jam Master Jay's grandfather.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Shawn Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appeared to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were, all 8 were victimized.
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
They got TD Jakes incognito snitching on Diddy to get a lighter sentence. Instead of the Dream Team, they trying to ensemble the CeeLo Green team to keep Diddy in jail. He got zesty sex tapes of Diddy and he ain't sharing with nobody. He just giving a little bit of details to the news. But the only way they can prove that he's not lying is if they present it in a court of law. And that's what they're going to have to do. So if he lying or if they're pulling the scam the same way they did with that book, they put it on Amazon, it was fake, people called them out for it, they had to take it down. What he gonna do? When they tell him to pop in that tape in the courtroom and you see R. Kelly pissing all over a cheerleading squad.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
2 to 3. Also on the flash drives, Courtney, was what looked to be a manuscript written by, it appears to be a woman who had taken Kim Porter's private journals and had written a book. Is that accurate?
We don't know.
I
don't know how, yeah.
I don't know how, who wrote it, put it together, but it was from her when I spoke to her.
What you received on the flash drives, was it the completed book or was it notes from Kim Porter that later were made into a book?
It was completed. It's only 60,
Okay.
it's only about 54 pages. It was
Sure, and in the beginning, it says, Kim made me promise that if something happened to her, I would make sure this book became public to the world. The way Shawn moved, I knew that was a promise I would have to fulfill. Kim knew I was a woman of my word, and this book was going to make it to print. So it sounds like it is a woman who wrote up the notes from Kim Porter. Does that sound accurate?
It's have you read it? Yes. I haven't even read the book.
Do you know who the woman is?
No.
And to be clear, he received it in its complete form. So I think just to make sure we have some clarity here, the manuscript that Mr. Burgess received was already in its complete form. It's not that he edited it or changed anything.
Got it.
He did give it to someone else who then edited it, but that's not how he received it.
This got PPP loan written all over it. The fact that she wearing Gucci from head to toe already let me know that she all about that paper. They look like they trying to get that paper up for the holiday season. Mr. and Mrs. Claus done signed another clause. He might be beating her ass on the low like Ike and Tina.
Okay, so Ariel, did your client, Courtney, receive the book from the woman who seems to have written it, saying, I'm a woman of my word, and this book is going to make it to print?
I don't know if he received it from a man or a woman. He can answer that.
I received it from a man. I tell you, somebody she was dating.
I don't know why they seem handicapped together. Like she can't see and he can't hear. They got to figure it out together. One thing for sure, Cassie is definitely on them tapes. When it hit the courtroom, everybody gonna be able to see it with their own two eyes how it go down in Diddy's bedroom. Stevie J most likely gonna be on those tapes. He was a willing participant in any and everything Diddy had going on. Meek Mill as well. That was his bestie once upon a time. A lot of people would say they had an Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy type of relationship. Rick Ross could also be on the tape. They claiming they got tapes dating all the way back to the early 90s. Young Miami, of course, she's on the tape. She was allegedly transporting narcotics for Diddy, so she's gonna be on the tape. You got the original Boys in the Hood on the tape. Y'all know Diddy made that group with Jeezy called Boys in the Hood, but a lot of people didn't know that Cuba Gooding Jr. made a lot of them beats that was on that CD. 50 Cent Baby Mama could be on the tapes with 50 Cent, and the one and only TD Jakes could be making a special appearance.
Do you know if the notes from the book really were from Kim Porter?
It was, yes, because I spoke to her probably like 6 hours before I received it.
You spoke to Kim Porter?
Yes.
So Kim Porter.
Just saying hi.
Okay.
Just saying hi.
Okay, Ariel, go ahead and give me clarity on the timeline.
No, I'm trying to get him to provide clarity of, was there a conversation with her?
No, I was talking to the person, and he said, hold up, this is Courtney, be right here. Let me say something to him. He said, I know him, put me on speaker. Then that's how we end up speaking.
And then later, somebody else came and brought you the manuscript.
Right. Before I left ATL.
He don't know how to do the proper talking with them people up there at the news. That's why they got her there. And they wish they can just get them tapes from up under this man and move along with it. That's why his life is in danger. He playing the dirty game. He put his face out there. People know who he is. They know who he with. And they don't want any of this evidence to get out there. So he's targeted by a whole bunch of different people. You got people out there that don't want the tape shown. You got people that want the tapes to be shown. You got people that's willing to pay money for the tapes. You got people that's willing to kill for the tapes. So he's in a horrible situation right now.
To the best of your knowledge, Courtney, do you believe that the manuscript is truly based on Kim Porter's diaries? Because there is a lot of dialogue in there. It is pages and pages of actual dialogue, which, I mean, I can't remember breakfast today, let alone dialogue from 5, 10, 15, and 20 years ago.
I guess this is a woman's scar. You understand? Maybe, what she been through. It's, I'm not a woman, so I'm just going by how I got female friends and relatives. They always come to the house scoring because what went on in their relationship. And when you're scoring, you can't forget it.
It sounds to me like Kim Porter put a bunch of cap in her book and he called her out for it, saying that she's a woman scorned, basically saying she said a bunch of madness just to make it seem like Diddy is this horrible monster as some get back to hurt him in the future. None of the stuff she put in the book was real, and it's a possibility that those FREAKOFF tapes could be compilations from Pornhub that they whipped together, blurred some faces, because they had a video allegedly of Stevie J out back in the day, and the actual dude from the video came out and let them know that's not Stevie J, that was me. So if Kim Porter was as vengeful as this man making it seem like she's a woman scorned and she photoshopping pictures of Diddy with other people's bodies.
Important to stop down here for a moment and note again that Shawn Combs is accused. He has not been convicted of any crimes, and so far everything against him is an allegation until it is proven in a court of law and a jury either decides or he decides to sign a plea deal to any of these crimes. But at this point in the story, Shawn Combs is not guilty of any crimes. He is currently under indictment. He is currently being held on on bail. But if you're at all curious about how Courtney Burgess feels about Diddy today, I asked him about that too. And here's what he had to say.
When they play these alleged tapes in court, somebody going to jail. And I don't think it's gonna be Diddy. This man, Courtney Burgess, done barked up the wrong tree with this madness. Now he gotta back up his claims. They want to see the hard drive. No more talking about it. So he gonna have to produce something that got Diddy's actual face in the camera. The actual faces of these celebrities that they're claiming to be on these tapes. They're not saying that they're guessing that they're celebrities on the tapes. They're basically confirming it as if they've seen the tapes in the media. But if the public don't see it, then that's going to leave Puff room to get out of jail.
Your lawyer just said the story the tapes tell are the story of Diddy from the last several decades. And I know that you've known Diddy for a very long time. Can you describe what that story is based on what you now know to be true, the last several decades of Diddy's behavior and the reason he's now sitting in lockup?
I think I've been doing it for 35 years. I think we probably entered the music business at the same time. He entered with Uptown, I entered into Big Beat, Atlantic. At the time, I guess he was ambitious. He was, then from ambitious went to doing anything. And then from doing anything to didn't care about nobody, who he could beat. And then he ended up turning into Lucifer today. I look at him, I know y'all call him Diddy or Puffy, y'all call him Lucifer.
Now is the time for the truth to be revealed. They're going to be playing these tapes in court, and y'all going to see who was smiling, who was frowning, who liked it, and who didn't like it. Kalina Harper already called out Dawn Richardson, and she claiming that Cassie loved to do drugs. So if these things are revealed on these tapes, then Diddy gonna walk away as a free man. And it's a possibility Cassie might have to give all that money back. And everybody that been making accusations probably gotta pay Diddy out of their personal savings just for slandering his name. It's a lot of defamation that been going on, and they still talking about victims coming forward, and Diddy haven't had his chance to speak yet. But I believe these tapes is gonna say it all. They're gonna be played in the courtroom very, very soon for the whole world to see. So y'all gonna have to stay tuned. But as long as they keep on making up rumors like this, it's only gonna make it easier for Diddy to get out of jail.
This week, his attorney told TMZ that Diddy wants to testify at his racketeering and sex trafficking trial. And I, for one, will circle that date whenever it is on my calendar. I bet you will, too. So will the many women and one man who've sued Diddy, claiming various forms of sexual abuse and violence. And Diddy might not know it yet, but he could have a lot more lawsuits headed his way, it's been rumored. A lawyer in Houston says he now represents more than 50 people who claim they were sexually assaulted by Combs and his associates. And he's planning a class action lawsuit. That's coming down. Separately, a woman known only as Jane Doe filed a lawsuit today accusing Combs of drugging, raping, and impregnating her. She claims that Diddy pushed her to have an abortion, but she suffered a miscarriage first. Another new accuser says that Diddy raped her in 2018 and not at one of his parties or even his own house. I'm joined now by that woman's attorney, Ariel Mitchell Kidd, here in studio with us live tonight in New York. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so a lot to unpack there. We were talking before we got out here on set. Tell us a little bit about your client, of what you can.
Yes, so she reached out to me a few weeks ago after being referred to me by another attorney who knew I had been doing things about this case and had been sounding the horn on Diddy. I've actually sued him in another lawsuit in 2021 in Miami with Trey Songz. So she called me and told me a very horrific story about her assault and her escape from the assault. She told me that she was at a friend's house who had industry ties and was on the phone with Diddy, and he decided to come to the house. And when he came to the house, everything was fine, that there was another woman there who we've determined to be Christina Courtroom, KK, who Diddy talks about a lot as his right-hand woman, if you will, and that they were discussing sex trafficking her. And then that led to her being served a drink where then she started to feel woozy, and then Mr. Combs sexually assaulted her with an inanimate object, and then actually directed another gentleman to sexually assault her while he watched and pleasured himself. So she was able to escape eventually and ran out into the streets yelling and screaming, and a neighbor heard her because this happened in a quiet suburban neighborhood, if you will.
So there's a witness?
Yes, we have a witness. We also have a police report, and that was made in 2018 that she, when she initially filed the police report, she didn't name Diddy out of fear of retaliation, and more importantly, fear that no one would believe her.
Right.
So she then updated that report, and we've been working with law enforcement to have them actually look into that report. They didn't do too much then, but now they are looking more closely at it.
All right, so let's slow that down just a minute. So when we talk about what happened in that house and she's running out into the street, I can see it as you're describing it so well. Did she call the police right away? You said that obviously that there is a police report, but is she calling 911? Is she going to the neighbor's house? Can you give us any more detail about what happened?
Sure. What she did was, as she's running out the house yelling, a neighbor saw her and invited her into the home.
Okay.
And it's the neighbor who then called the police, and the police did come out at that time. They also stated that they heard cars screeching, and the neighbor went outside and saw a black SUV leaving the premises very quickly. And by the time the police arrived, of course, he was no longer there.
Well, was the neighbor able to identify who it was?
The neighbor wasn't, only that they saw the car leaving, and
Okay.
they only described the truck. They could not tell who was inside, but she told the neighbor at the time who it was and why they were leaving so abruptly.
She must have been terrified.
Hearing her tell this story, her voice was trembling. She was in tears. I actually had to stop her at one point and tell her, take a second, because I can tell, even having her tell me this story, reliving it, was extremely painful. It was like it happened yesterday. I can tell she's very traumatized by what happened to her. She really is looking to seek justice and looking to come out. She actually contacted me today and said that she saw something, I guess recently, that the Southern District Attorney came out and said that more victims should come forward and contact their office, and that she saw that and wanted to make sure that she would be one of those voices who would be heard.
Y'all gonna have to let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section. There's a possibility there is no tapes. People saying what they gotta say to have some leverage, some collateral, to have a situation to where they can get paid off strictly for bluffing. We gonna have to wait and see, man. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. I'ma holla at y'all on my next video.